so blessed and so honored to be here today. And today I just want to speak to you about something very simple. Our dreams, our visions, the things we want to achieve, the things we desire. And I'm going to talk up from the book of Genesis. And I'm going to talk about someone that we all know, Joseph. So I wanted to read 3 chapters of the Bible. Chapter 3, but and I know that already people are hungry. My brother was trying to buy food all the way when we were coming and we couldn't. He had thought he'd go to this KFC, but when we got the traffic was so hectic, I just had to say, man, or if you not the biscuit baking up for surely. Look at how hungry he is. Because I got a faint as I just but it is now because as I've already told you, the people at my church, they don't laugh, they will just look at you. So let us quickly go to the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 39. If I'm mommy, it's okay. I think there's an extra bottle there, but I'm filled. Genesis chapter 39, verse 2 to 5. So maybe before I read Genesis chapter 39, let me just give you a brief background of what happened with Joseph. So Joseph has a dream. He is 17 years old. He has a dream. In that dream, his brothers are bowing before him. And actually, he never said his brothers. He said, my sheaf arose, and your sheaves bowed. Then the brothers are the ones who interpreted the dream for him. They said, oh, so you mean we're going to bow before you? Then they were upset. The second time Joseph dreams, and Joseph did not have what we call tact. He was not a very perceptive person. Obviously, if you tell people your dream the first time and they're angry, don't go and tell them again. You are just rubbing salt in their wound. So rather just keep quiet. But Joseph, and the thing is, sometimes even though you know that you're not supposed to tell your enemy your dream, you are just too excited, guys. Even when you are trying to hold yourself, you can't. You go to tell them again. So Joseph, the second time he goes, he tells them, and this time around, he says that 11 stars are bowing before me, and the moon and the sun. And the father says, how? Even as me and your mother, we are going to bow before you. Joseph is like, that's my dream interpret you. I just interpreted, I'm just telling you what happened. So the Bible says his brothers hated him. Then the other reason why the brothers hated him is because he was his father's favorite. So, you know, I come from a family of 3. It's me, it's my sister, and then this is my youngest brother. And one day I said to my mother, I was sitting, we were having a mission. Hey, Tabile, we were having a mission. It was not in Russia, no, it was in Mogodi. We were having a mission in Mogodi. And when we were having the mission, when we were sitting with the missionaries and my mother was there, then I said, hey, not in my family. My sister is my father's favorite, and my brother is my mother''s favorite. Now, unfortunately, I'm no one's favorite. Then the other missionaries, they were feeling very bad. And they said, yo, Mantsha, how can you say that? Yo, how will your mother feel? My mother. And my mother was not those, I love you, my daughter, come let me give you a hug. Unfortunately, she's late. My mother said, yeah, Vela, you're no one's favorite. And she said, and mentioned why they are her favorites and why I'm nobody's favorite. And anyway, it's fine, I accepted it. She was my mother. By then I was already, I think, about 30. I understood that, this is how it works in this family. In most families, though, the parents try not to show who their favorite is. Even though you know in your heart that you favor who, when you deal with your children, you try not to show them who's the favorite. But not Jacob. Jacob was so obvious to the point that he took a material. He bought enough material for one coat and made a coat for Joseph alone. And Joseph was not the firstborn. Joseph was not the lastborn. So you can't say it was the coat of the firstborn, it was the coat of the lastborn. Joseph was just somewhere the number 11. He really did not deserve any special treatment. So when Joseph comes to tell his brothers the dream, already they don't like him because he's the favorite. And they have proof that he's the favorite because no one else has this type of coat. So when he comes to tell them the dreams, it's not like Nebamurata, and if you look at the events of what happened in that family, When the other children are going to stay in the field, taking care of the sheep, Joseph stays with his brother, with his father. And when Joseph gets an opportunity with the others, when he comes back, he tells on the papa, today another goat gave birth and these ones they ate it because they knew that when you don't know that there's a new goat. They drank the milk, papa, they didn't bring it home. They were playing the whole night, papa, the whole day they were not taking care of the sheep. So, I mean, let's just be fair, Bazalwani, as human beings. If Joseph was your brother, you were not going to like him. It's just fair. Sometimes you want to say they were evil, those brothers. No, they were not evil, they were human. If a person is behaving like an outcast, we treat him like an outcast. You can't come here in this family, all of us are out there in the bush. When you come back, you want to look nice before Papa. And on top of that, you don't share your coat with us. At least say on Monday, I give Simeon. On Tuesday, I give Ruben. All of us, we wear the coat. And then it's fair. So to be honest, when we are really being real, the brothers were justified not to like Joseph. If Joseph was my brother, I think I would have felt the same way. Especially if I did not have the Holy Spirit. Because there was no Holy Spirit during those days. So, one day when the brothers were out, the father says to Joseph, Joseph, go and give them food. No, he packs the food, he packs the food, and then he goes to his brothers. The Bible says as he were coming, they say, morning, shoo. Then they're like, no guys, let's kill him. Then they decide, and then they take him, they put him in the pit, and then they eat. That's how cruel brothers can be. They take you, they put you in the pit. While you are in the pit, they eat. And then after that, they see the Ishmaelites coming, then they take him, they sell him, and then he's sold in slavery to Pharaoh, to Potiphar. Then when he gets to Potiphar's house, Genesis chapter 39, verse 2 and 5, he's in slavery. He's in a foreign land. The Lord was with Joseph. How is the Lord with a person who was sold by his brothers? If the Lord was with Joseph, why didn't the Lord stop the sale? Why did the Lord allow him to be hated like this? Why did the Lord not make a way? I mean, this is the same God who could open the Red Sea. If God wanted a specific thing to happen in Joseph's life, why didn't God do it? How does God send you into a place where you feel like a slave and then claim to be with you? So the Bible says the Lord was with Joseph. Hey, the Bible says he was a successful man. I mean, when you are a slave, you own nothing. He didn't have a car, he didn't have a house, he didn't have a bank account. Even the clothes he had, they were given to him. Even, you know, when you arrive in these areas, they even change your name. They change everything about you. So he gets into this place where they removed him away from the people that love him. The Lord was with him. And number two, it tells us that he was a successful man. So what I then conclude is that we don't know what success is. That's why you will call a businessman and ask him 10 steps to get a business in church, in a church seminar. Come and give us the 10 steps to make money. Somebody who is sleeping with blessers, for her to have the type of weave that she has and to have the type of makeup that she has, and call her to a youth meeting and say, come and teach the children how to apply makeup. Where are they supposed to get the money to buy the makeup that she has if she got the money from a blesser? So we will invite those people to church because we don't understand what success is. But now here is a man who had nothing. Here is a man who is a slave. But when God looked at him, the Bible says he was a successful man. Then the Bible, as we read it, says, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his sight and served him. Then he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had put under his authority. So it was, from the time that he had made him overseer of his house, and all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was on all that he had in the house and in the field. Hallelujah. So God calls you. I was called Well, I know that a lot of people have these powerful stories of how they were called. To be honest, I don't have it, and I don't want to start to make it up because someone will hear it and then say, but that's not true. So for me, my calling was really, there was no voice, there was nothing. So what actually happened was when I was at the Christian Action Fellowship at Wits, we were in a meeting and they wanted 4 preachers. Then they chose preacher number 1, preacher number 2, preacher number 3. When they were just about to choose preacher number 4, they said, guys, we can't have an all-men preaching team. We need a woman. In that meeting, I was the only woman. So the Spirit of the Lord never told anyone to ask Mantsha. Like, the Lord was not involved. It was just a gender issue. Where they said that we need 4 pastors, 4 speakers. We can't have 4 men only. So because of that, that's how I preached my first sermon. But throughout my childhood, I grew up in the Catholic Church, and I always loved the Bible, and I knew that God is going to use me with the Bible. But because I was in Roma and women did not preach, I then decided I'm going to be a nun, sister. Then, unfortunately, my character, I don't want to say I was not. I don't want to say that about myself. I respect myself too much. But already the sisters told me, you will never be a sister, forget it. You will not be accepted in the convent. A person like you cannot make it. So really, Bazalwani, now here I am. Then you can't be a woman priest in Roma. I know I'm called. They're already telling me I can't be a nun. But how am I going to fulfill what God has called me to do? So I carried this thing with me even though I never knew how it was going to be expressed. Then when I arrived at Wits, I found one woman called Nofundo preaching and I said, oh, this is what God wants me to do. But because I had never been exposed to it, I didn't know. So this first time that they asked me to preach. Then after that day, okay, I tried to get out of it on I was preaching on Sunday. It was 15 minutes, only 15 minutes. You know, I prepared, I did not sleep the whole night. I was kneeling next to my single bed, praying and asking, and God was not speaking. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like that. God was not speaking, but the more I prayed, the more I heard nothing. You know, and then I just ended up having to just research in the Bible. I was given a topic and then I prepared for according to that topic. So after preaching, then it was confirmed that this is what God has called me to do. And that confirmation was just a knowing in my spirit. I did not hear a voice, and no one appeared to me. I did not see a vision. It was just a knowing in my spirit. Then from then on, at the age of 17, I knew that I'm called to preach. But let me tell you something. I preached twice a year. Twice a year from that time onwards. I preached when we went to a mission in June, and I preached when we went to a mission in December. And I was very frustrated. Because I knew I want to preach more. I had more sermons than opportunities to preach. When people were preaching, they used to frustrate me. Because I felt that they don't understand the word properly. Why don't they give me this opportunity so that I can explain? Since I've been studying this thing for too long, hey, why don't they give me this opportunity so that I can show them how this thing is done? So what happened between the time when God called me when I was 17 years old until the time maybe about 7 years ago, so when my ministry really picked up and I was preaching often, I continued to prepare. But you know what? There were little things that I continued to do that I knew were not my calling. Like for example, they would put me in charge of the women's ministry, then I must be the one who organizes what are we going to eat, what is the menu. Like those things, guys, they are not for me. Like what is the menu? Those things are not for me. Show me the pulpit. Why do you want to talk to me about the rosary? Who must go and fetch the guests and these things? So during that time, when I was waiting for the manifestation of what God has laid in my hand, I served in very obscure places. I mean, I remember at one mission in Guyana. Guys, I kid you not. When I arrived at the mission, you know, you go with these kids, they are from Soshanguve. I mean, guys, not from Modia Mantad. So when we get there, we are sleeping in a primary school. Then I go to I don't want to call them bathrooms, because those ones, they don't qualify to be called bathrooms. We go to the toilets. When we arrive there, this place is so dirty. No, the toilet is getting to, oh my God, where are we gonna go? Oh my God, this place is so dirty. Oh my God, is there somewhere else that we can go? Oh, because now I come from Udowa, I don't have a choice. I take a bucket, I take jig, because I said we are here for 7 days, it's going to be a crisis. I take a bucket, I take jig. I wear my dress on, I go there, and don't worry, there are no brushes, there's nothing to When I clean these things, I clean these things, I clean these things. When I came back from the toilet, I was so angry. When I was going back, I met, they're like, oh, you're the engineer, latrine engineer. I'm an engineer. Latrine. But I was so mad. I took off all my clothes. I washed everything. I didn't talk to anyone. I bathed and then I slept. And I said, at that time, I was just trying to meet a need. Because the missionaries are here for 7 days and they need to relieve themselves somewhere. And they can't choose these places. And I can't stand there and say, guys, do you understand my calling? I'm a woman of God. Do you know me? Jesus has called me to come and preach. Toilets and me. All this anointing, cleaning the toilet. I know out of your mind. Like, what is this? So in between the time that God has called you and the manifestation of that vision and that dream, you will wash toilets, you will sleep on the floor, you will clean the chairs, you will clean the church, you will do things that you know deep in your heart. Even in my family, I don't do this. There's someone else that is hired to do these things. So when Joseph was in slavery, he never said, this is beneath me. He never said, guys, do you know me? God showed me not one, two visions of, there's no way that I'm going to be a slave. He was there and he served faithfully. So especially for those of us who feel called into full-time ministry, don't allow a period of slavery to frustrate you. When you know that you are called as a worshiper and you are working at boxer, plastic, you say plastic, I get a worshiper, plastic. That's how you want to ask the people, do they want plastic now? You know, so because there's this thing that God has called you to, but your life where you are now, it doesn't seem as if this thing will ever manifest. And most of us get frustrated by that period where it seems as if nothing is happening. What we need to realize is that God is in control. Even during that time when you are working a job today, when you are serving people who don't appreciate you, when you are giving when no one says well done, you are preparing for the place that God has called you to. Joseph never complained. Do you know that Joseph never resigned? The problem was this woman, Potiphar's wife. So Potiphar's wife, Joseph is busy dusting there, cleaning, telling these ones to go buy this, doing these things. And then Jamsha, oh, he's so hot. He's so hot. Joseph, Potiphar's wife, instead of being there, busy with wifely duties, so the reality of our lives, those of us who choose to follow God will always have uncommon temptations. The question is, what will you do? Throughout your life, then all of a sudden people are saying, oh, woman of God, can I just take you out? Can I just, and now you're like, oh, really? And then, I don't know what, can I take off all my clothes now or later? You don't know what to do with yourself. But Joseph said, no. These are the things that we must talk about. When God has called, I just want to bring you food, everything. The Bible says Joseph reigned. Because the flesh is not born again. The flesh is not called. But unfortunately, this treasure is in earthen vessels. So Joseph runs away. Unfortunately for him, this woman was serious. When she grabbed his coat, then Joseph ran away. Then she screamed and said, Joseph tried to rape. And being Potiphar, you're like, okay, this is my wife. It's fine, let me believe her. Then you send Joseph to jail. And when Joseph arrives in jail, this is what the Bible says in chapter 40, verse 13 to 15. Chapter 40 at the beginning. Okay, let me just go to it here. Chapter 39, verse 20. Then Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were confined. And he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph. You know, it's bad enough that you are in slavery. Now you are in prison in a foreign land. And Mudimu still continues to say, the Lord is with you. And showed Joseph mercy. And he gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners who were in the prison. Whatever they did there, it was his doing. The keeper of the prison did not look into anything that was under Joseph's authority, because the Lord was with him. And whatever he did, the Lord made it prosper. Bazalwane, we won't be able to go through all the verses. There's the butler and the baker. They have dreams. Joseph, an interpreter, the dreams. And when the butler was about to be released, Joseph says to him, please don't forget me. I was wrongfully accused, that's why I'm here. He tells the butler the whole story. The butler, when he's freed, he's excited, he leaves. And when he leaves, he serves Pharaoh, he forgets about Joseph. 2 years later, Pharaoh has a dream. And when Pharaoh has a dream, no one can interpret the dream. The butler remembered, there was this Jewish boy. Then he goes, says, today I remember my sins. He tells Pharaoh, Pharaoh calls for Joseph immediately. When Joseph comes, Joseph interprets the dream. After Joseph interprets the dream, he doesn't just interpret the dream, he gives a solution of when I keep, do this, and find a man, appoint a man, and when that man is here, make sure you prepare for the time of famine. Then the king said, no, another man when you are here. You are the man that we are going to find. The king takes his ring, takes his second chariots, gives Joseph all the power. And Joseph takes over. When all these things happen, the Bible says Joseph was 30 years old. When God spoke to Joseph, Joseph was 17 years old. Joseph, for 13 years, 1-3, for 13 years, when he looked at his life, you could not even see. You know, God says one thing to you, but when you look at your life, everything is. When God said you're going there, actually it looks like when you're going there. When you look at what God is doing in your life, it is so far from what God has called to do, you are frustrated. But one thing that I want to tell you when it comes to vision and vision that comes from God, it's not your responsibility to make the vision come to pass. Your responsibility is to obey God, and God will make the vision to come to pass. So, Pastor Mani, when God calls us, for many of us, we don't come from rich families. You can't say I'm called and not work. Sometimes even when you are called and you know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, you have to work because you must eat, you live on earth, you don't live in heaven. And it's not like Pastor Nami, they are knocking at your door saying, I've sent you an e-wallet. They are sending you a message, send me an e-wallet, not I've sent you an e-wallet. So some of us, we think that means we are not called. Or we think that means it will never happen. If God has said something to you, whatever it is, for some of us it's ministry, for some of us it's education. Maybe God, you know that you're supposed to go and get a degree. Maybe your marks are not right, or you don't have the money, or when you go to school you fail. I want to encourage you, if God has promised it, God will do it. I mean, now when they read my profile, they will never tell you what happened to me at Vets. Now when I arrived at Vets, I was 16 years old. When I left Vets, I was 25 years old. Actually, your aunt, you must tell her, Zakani. When I was walking across, when I was graduating, I don't remember who she was sitting next to. My sister was there, she overheard them speaking. As I was crossing, she said, hey, when I'm my child bumper, graduate. You know, because I failed so much when I was at Vets. I was famous for failing. At Vets, they knew that, like, oh, so that's how famous I was. So I did chemistry 3, one time, second time. I did chemistry 3 times and failed it all 3 times. So after failing it for the 3rd time, the dean decided that chemical engineers don't need to do chemistry. Because God knew I needed my degree without chemistry. And if the dean must change and there must be no chemistry, then there will be no chemistry. So how am I going to get my degree? I was trying to study, and the more I studied, the more teacher because we went to school during a time when they were teaching us English in Seped. So I think I was still trying to think like that when I was thinking about my studies. That's why I was failing as much. So you are sitting there, you are looking at your life, you think you will never get your degree. You are sitting there and this thing does not look possible. Just look to the front, look right here. When I arrived there, a woman was pregnant. When I left, that child was instant and two. That's how long it took me. So when it looks like things are not happening, your stuff is not working out, I want to tell you that God who promised is faithful. So after failing as much as I failed, I assumed that my career was going to be blissful because I serve God. And when you serve God really, you know, other people who, I remember there was this guy who was such a drunkard. And during the weekend when we were studying, he was going to bashes and drinking. But when the results came, that guy passed. And I failed. And I was like, no, you know what? Something is not right with this Christian. So it's fine. I accept that my studying was difficult, but my career is going to be easier. So I went to work, and I remember my first job when I got it, I was earning, fairly high. I was doing very well. Then I moved, and I was like, yeah, God sees that I failed too much. He's accelerating my career, So I was like, yeah, finally, God is here. I even had verses that are speaking to it. God will restore what the locusts have stolen and what the cankerworm have eaten. He will restore 7 times. I had the verses for it. Then fast forward, I remember one of the jobs that I got, a guy called me and said, Mantsha, Kana, you studied quantity surveying because he was headhunting me for a job. I said, no. He said, did you study mechanical engineering? I said, no. He said, civil engineering? I said, no. He said, what did you study? I said, chemical engineering. I said, oh, all engineering are the same. Can you build a school? I said, yes, I can build a school. And I didn't even know how to build a school. And that's how I got that job in government. Then I left government and then I went to work as a management consultant. And on the 2nd of December 2015, I received a very long letter. Misconduct. Me, Pastor Mantsha, the woman of God. Misconduct. Actually when they called me to that meeting, they refused to tell me what the meeting was about. Then they said, no, you have to come to HR at 3. I said, no, I'm busy at the client. They said, no, you have to come. Okay, but what is the meeting about? They don't tell me. They said, no, you have to come. Then I'm just like, okay, when I don't suspect anything, then I leave, I go to work. When I get there, it was an A4 envelope. I promise you it looked like this. But it was A4. When I opened it, all I saw was misconduct. All the negative words were the ones that were coming out. You are charged. Tell you it may lead to a dismissal. I said, I remember at some point I could hear, in the movie when it's like you are hearing a sound from far. I heard my director saying, Mantsha, can you follow? Mantsha, can you follow? Mantsha, can you follow? Over and over again. And then they said that entire meeting for about an hour. I can't tell you what they said. Then after that they said, is there anything that you want to ask? I couldn't ask anything. I don't know what happened. Then I left and I felt the floor underneath me beginning to go away. And I said, God, happen now you, woman of God, which means I'm your woman, God. It's me. How are you going to let them do this to us? Embarrass us like this here in this job? I always tell myself that when I preach, I must not tell stories. This is the last time, I promise. So, to cut a long story short, my charges, number 1 was you preach. Number 2 was I had written my first book, How to Pray the Word of God. You write. And other things, something like my client said I don't perform. So if you're a consultant, when your client says you don't perform, they kick you out the same day. I had been with that client for 2 years. Now that I'm getting fired, they say my client said I don't perform. So to cut a long story short, I came for a hearing. A few days later, then in that hearing, I remember my boss, she's a lady, she's about 6 months younger than me, was wearing a very colorful, beautiful skirt with the most beautiful shoes you have ever seen. And she was so excited. It was as if she was going to climb the table. And she, at some point I had to ask for a recess to go. Again, when you work at your workplace, you know where the fire escape is. I went to the fire escape, I sat there and I cried. Then I pulled myself together and went back to the hearing. You know, to cut a long story short, then they fired me on the 15th of December 2015. And I said, God, nah, that one wizard. And they fired me on the 15th. On the 16th of December, I am preaching at a conference in Mpumalanga. And you know, I don't know if you guys know these things called panic attacks. I used to think those things are for white people. I never knew that a black person can have panic attacks. Because we don't have, we're not, you know, black people, we suffer with poverty, you want to find food, you have a headache, you can't tell your mother that you have a panic attack. What's that? You know, I started having these things. I couldn't think, I couldn't breathe. It was crazy. I couldn't sleep. And I had to prepare messages. And then I was fired. But when I was 17 years old, God had spoken to me that I am going to send you to the nations. You are going to preach. And I said, God, where is this preaching when life is like this? So all of us, when things happen in our lives that seem contrary to what God has called us to do, those things are the very instruments that God needs to take us to the place where He needs to take us to. I can never boast about my studies. Guys, I'm that girl who failed too much. I can't tell you, no, you must study. That's how God is going to use you. I know that God is using me even when I failed as much as I can't tell you, you must be serious about your career. Be a performer. Do what? I'm the girl that got fired. How am I going to tell you to be a performer when I was fired and my charge sheet says I was not performing? So I have nothing that qualifies me for the ministry. The only thing that I have is that He called me, and through His power, He made a way for me to get to the place where He has called me to. So someone here is discouraged. Things are not going well in your life. Oh, no. Until you've done ministry 3 times and still failed it, you don't know anything. I can't tell you. You know, when I speak about my challenges, I don't feel like I have extraordinary challenges. It's challenges that we all have. Because sometimes, you know, now I'm 40 years old, I'm not married. You know, and it's not by choice. That's why I didn't become a man, because I wanted to get married. Now, just when I think things are going well, or when I'm even he's praying in tongues out, and God, no, it's not you, it's me. The next thing is gone. You know, so I'm sitting there thinking, Lord, even when I started the church, I said, Lord, how am I going to start the church when I'm a single woman? This does not make sense. Just bring a brother. That brother does not have to be a pastor. At least when we take a photo, he will stand here, I will sit over him like this, and then we can have Church of Jesus Christ Ministries welcomes you. But now, that's why in our posters, you'll never see my picture. In our church posters, you'll never see my picture. I'm just seeing the logo of the church. So many things. I have health challenges, and I make altar calls for people to come for healing. They get healed, and I go back home with my pain. I don't get healed. So when you look at your life, there is nothing that says you are qualified to be used by God. But that's because God does not ask you to bring what you need to work for Him, for you to work for Him. In closing, Pastor Ryan, when they hire us for jobs, as soon as they give you a letter to come to work, if you are a designer, you are not going to come with your MacBook and come with your Adobe and all the things that with your chair, your table, the door to your office. When they give you an offer letter, they say you must come to work. If you don't have clothes, even bring oversized shoes there, because you know month end I'm going to get paid, I'll buy my own shoes, I'll buy my own clothes. When you arrive at work, you know that the company will have provided everything that you need to do your job. When God calls us, Pazalani, He would have already lined up everything that we need to do that which He has called us to do. And she was saying it earlier, by the time she took a decision that she's going to Russia, God had already orchestrated who's going to pay for the flight, who's going to pay for the accommodation, how are you going to get there, who's going to do your hair, where are you going to get the toiletries, things that you don't even think God is thinking about, He has already thought of them. So for the longest time, I never wanted to say yes to the church. I didn't mind preaching, but a church really, I didn't want to be preaching to 3 people. That's why I never wanted to start the church. And finally, you know, you reach a point where if you are working with God, you just have to accept I need to do what God is doing. You know, in December, when I finally said, yes, Lord, I'm going to do this. In January, 2 of my friends called me, they say, Mantsha, we want to tithe. Then one of them tithes about 2.5, the other one tithes about 11,000. The one who wanted to tithe 11,000, who tithed 11,000 said to me, you know, I had I had this discussion with God. I said, but Mantsha doesn't have a church. How am I going to tithe to a person and not to a church? And I said to her, you know what? At the time when you were calling me to say that you are going to tithe, I had just said yes a few weeks ago to God about the church. And when you tithe, both of, I mean the other one, she's a member of Seventh-day Adventist, when both of you decided to tithe, what it then said to me, in my small little world where sometimes there's unbelief, it confirmed that this is the work of the Lord. And you know what? Later, about 3 months later, another one of my friends who does not come to our church called me and said, God spoke to me and said I must tithe. You know, before she said God spoke to me and said I must tithe, I said, my friend, I never knew that God speaks to you. God speaks to you because you know all your friends. Like, you know, that one. I have never in our entire friendship heard her saying, for the first time in my life, that I heard her saying, God said to me. Was when she was, then I said, guys, this is the work of the Lord. This is the work of the Lord. So you know what? Don't worry. Don't worry about, I'm not worried anymore about that photo. If it comes, it doesn't come. If it comes, it will come. I'm not worried about what is not there. All I know is everything that God has called us to do, Bazalwane, He will provide for it. When you come to our church and you find us being sick, you will ask yourself how we afford everything that we have. We also don't know because it doesn't belong to us. The master, the one who owns everything, is making sure that we have everything that we need. Whatever it is that God has called you to do, trust Him. Trust God. And when you trust Him fully, He will show. And you know, God will not tell you, I'm going to do it like this, I'm going to do it like this. You know, just when I think I want to repossess my house, I don't know why God likes money last minute, or maybe it's not last minute. Why doesn't He pay for it in advance? Why does He have to wait for the last minute just when I say, oh Lord, it's over, it's going? That's when God, but all I know God knew. So we must trust Him. Trust God with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. So let's stand up on our feet, Bazalwane, and we are going to pray. Some of us, maybe this year your children could not go to school because they didn't have money. Or maybe you are the one that could not go to school because you didn't have money. We are praying for you.
You could be sitting getting surprised. What do we say? All what we say is we stand on the word of the Lord, because the word of the Lord has the power. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.